this the year that you said that you're finally going to pay attention to your hair, that you're finally going to focus on your hair goals, that you're finally going to start getting your trims? Well, I have something that can help you out with that. Stay tuned to the end of the video so that you learn what that is. But for now, I'm going to be showing you how I silk press my hair. I use Matrix Mega Sleek, the entire line, and I'll show you that in a minute.
Since I live in a highly humid climate, I'm always looking for anti-frizz products that can work against the poof that happens from living in humidity. So I decided to check out the Matrix Mega Sleek 96-hour serum along with the other products that come with it. I decided if I'm gonna try the one product that is the heat protectant, I might as well try the whole line just to see if everything working in conjunction will get me a great result versus me just using my typical silk press products, which already gave me great results. So here I am, deep conditioning. One thing I love to do when I straighten hair is to deep condition because I definitely want those cuticles to be closed down. And then I'm gonna follow that with applying all my heat protectant products while my hair is damp and towel dried. And right now I'm using the Matrix leave-in along with the serum. If you do decide to use the serum, I would strongly advise to not use more than what is recommended on the package, which I believe is 5 pumps. I definitely use a little bit, way too much. So I do think that created some drag and a few tangles on my hair actually. And I think the cause of that is there are film formers in this product, so it causes the hair to not glide against each other very smoothly. So I would keep that in mind whenever it comes to using anti-frizz products, especially this serum. I added some Moroccan oil treatment oil just to reduce the friction on the strands and to add another layer of heat protection. If you use a comb attachment, always reverse blow dry to get the roots.
So as you see in the video, I blow dried my hair yesterday, and it was just one of those days that I'm not gonna do the whole thing in one sitting. So I decided to wear my hair like this to church, and it was really cute. So right now I'm going to do a quick flat iron, and I have my iron at 401. I usually flat iron my hair maybe 2, maybe 3 times a year. And this year I kind of want to do more of that. It just depends, because the issue that I have is when I go to the gym, of course, I sweat a lot, like a lot, drip, drip sweat. And don't let it be humid because I'm going to be super duper dripping in sweat. So I also like to go into the sauna. So it's just not conducive to having straight styles, blowout styles, and I also not necessarily ready to do a keratin treatment or a treatment that keeps my hair straight regularly, because I really do like to switch between curly and straight styles, and I just don't think it's realistic to do a treatment and then my hair will be way looser and or straight, and then if I want to do a wash and go, it's impossible. I just have to grow my hair out. So I personally don't necessarily want to do a treatment like that, which is why I do offer a keratin treatment and at the salon, and people ask me this all the time, and it's one of those things where I don't offer it to clients who are in the middle, like they're iffy about their curls being looser or their hair being too straight, because I think it's best for the client who really wants their hair straight, as in straight all the time, as in they're on the verge of a relaxer but they don't want that alternative because there's so many other things that come with the relaxer, so they would rather go the keratin route. And yes, there's a lot of discourse about keratin treatments and smoothing treatments, but ultimately the one that I use personally does not specifically have formaldehyde or formaldehyde releasers. And that's important to me, not just on the client side, because of course I want something that's safe for clients, but I want something that's safe for me, because I'm the one who's in the salon regularly and who has to, I guess not ingest, I'm surrounded by these chemicals regularly. So I want to use stuff that is not hurting my system, just like it won't hurt your system. So anyway, let's dive into this silk-ish press, because sometimes I don't like my hair to be too bone straight because I want it to still have some body. But then it's gonna get body anyway because my hair tends to get frizzy. It's very high porosity. It drinks up moisture from the air. But that is why I'm trying to use the Matrix Mega Sleek line to hopefully have that anti-frizz effect, which is what it said, 96 hours of anti-frizz. So we will see. I have a few notes when it came to shampoo and blow drying, and I want to talk about those things. But right now we are at the silk pressing stage. So let's get started. Start, I'm going to go ahead and brush out my hair. I don't want to use too much heat because I honestly may straighten my hair once again this year. So I try to manage my heat usage. I try to not do too much with my heat usage, which is why I don't keep the iron too high. I also tend to flat iron my hair in large chunks. I think the issue with that is the pieces get frizzy fast. My hair is actually cute like this, to be honest. I wish my hair would stay like this on a regular basis, but I just love it like this. But anyway, we're gonna start here. I love to use my Zaran flat iron. I've been using this for years now. It is actually one of the smoothing treatments that I use. This is a vegan smoothing treatment. If you want to, you can go to their website and get this. It's ceramic, it's very accurate with the heat. Love it. Of course, there are other consumer brands like T3, I believe Bionic might be one of them. I use this and T3 curling iron, so I'd probably stick to those two. There is a talk about titanium versus ceramic, and I do think, especially if you have fine hair, you should stick with ceramic. And I think titanium should be left to the professionals and extensions. So I wouldn't necessarily use titanium because I know Babyliss is a great brand. However, I wouldn't use that flat iron on my hair and most of my clients' hair because I think it can be too harsh and get too hot too quickly, and it's not as much control as a ceramic iron. Anyway, let's get into it. So one thing I noticed during the blow dry process yesterday was that my ends did not glide past each other easily at all. And I learned that it is because a lot of anti-frizz products, particularly this one, have film forming agents in them. And I have high porosity fine hair. So I do think that combo caused it to have a bit of friction that I didn't really care for. And honestly, it could have been because I used too much. So I'm not gonna lie, the package said 5 pumps, but I decided I'm gonna do 10 because maybe they're giving those directions for people with straight hair. And then the distribution is gonna be different. Sorry, gotta focus. The distribution is gonna be different on straight hair versus kinky hair. But perhaps after blow drying it, it may not have been a great idea to use so many pumps. Also, I think it can reduce the level of silkiness that it has. I personally like my blowouts or silk presses a little fluffy, like I mentioned. So I don't mind it having the look of volume. However, I don't want it to be frizzy. So ultimately, the goal is with the use of this product, it will significantly reduce the frizz I experience. One of the things to be mindful of whenever you straighten your hair is not just the weather, but the dew points. I'll explain that in a second. So when it comes to dew point, if it is between 45 degrees and 60 degrees Fahrenheit, you are in a relatively safe zone. However, if it is above 60, especially if you're already in a humid climate, then you are doomed or you are very, very prone to your hair reverting in a way that you don't particularly want it to. We want our hair to revert when we shampoo it. We don't want it to revert when we're trying to wear our silk press out and be cute on a Sunday afternoon. Essentially, if you know you're going to be in a very humid climate or in a very humid situation, or you just live in a humid place like Houston or Florida or Miami, I just would be mindful of getting silk presses on a regular basis, unless you just don't sweat on your scalp. You're mindful about wrapping your hair up at night, things like that. You don't go in the sauna, which the sauna has many benefits, apparently. Because one thing I don't like the idea of is sacrificing gym for the sake of your hair. I think you can do both. So maybe you do your silk press on a Friday because maybe you're not going to work out on the Saturday and Sunday. So you at least have like 2 full days of no humidity to mess up your silk press. Because to me, even if it gets frizzy, there are ways to revive it to still make it look good. It may not be bone straight like day one, but you can still wear it in a cute style for the next 7 to 14 days. So, and there are girls out there who give the method of tying your hair into 2 tight buns or even 1 tight bun and ponytail, and then keeping on the dry fit headband after the gym. And I know it works for a lot of people who are straight naturals, but for some reason, for some people, that method is just not going to work, and you have to know where you fit. For me, that method partially works because I've definitely gone to the gym after I've straightened my hair, and my hair remained straight, but my roots were poofy, and it's inevitable because I have sweaty scalp. I sweat on my scalp, so I just can't avoid that. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, I don't plan to get a keratin treatment. So it's just one of those things where you have to choose your heart. What are you willing to deal with? And because I know that my hair is going to get frizzy, then I have to now decide, okay, since I know it's going to get frizzy, what are the alternative styles that I'm still satisfied with that I can wear with straightened hair? So that's what I love. A satin or silk roller, flexi rods, all the heatless roller type of styles, because you still can look cute. The hair may not be bone straight, but it's still gonna look cute. Even bantu knots, like 4 bantu knots, even 2 like I put my hair in 2 ponytails sometimes at night, wrap it, and when I take it down, it has a nice little wave. So there are multiple ways to style your hair, even after it's no longer bone straight. Every year I have clients say that this is the year that they're going to change their hair care routine. But I always wonder what's going to actually change. Are you going to visit me more? Am I going to be the main person to do your hair? Are you going to schedule your shampoos on your own better? Are you going to schedule your trims? Are you going to find styles that fit your lifestyle better? Like, what is going to change that indicates to me that you're actually serious about your hair? Because it's not always about growth. Some people have the goal of growing in their edges. Some people want length. Some people want to wear their hair only. They want a year of only their hair, no wigs, no weaves, no braids or extensions. Like, what is your goal and how are we going to get there? Well, the great thing is I have a system. So how are you going to do this? Well, I created a system in Notion, and it is going to help you organize your hair care, your healthy hair care. If you are familiar with Notion, if you are not familiar with Notion, it is a project management system. And essentially, don't be too scared about project management, right? It can be used in work. I know some people use it in their corporate office, or it can just be used to manage your meal preps. It's just a system to help you manage life. And the great thing about it is that it has databases. And the great thing about databases are that they're searchable. So that is one of the reasons why I wanted to create something that's not just an ebook that you download and forget. This is an interactive system that you can document your hair care, document the products you use. You can schedule your trims. You have a way to even book either me or your own personal stylist. And now at the end of the year, we can go back and pinpoint what was great, what was not great. You can have all your progress pictures in one place instead of scattered throughout your photo album. Now, if you're one of those people who is really good at keeping your albums in your phone, that's excellent. However, if you're like many of my clients, they want to show me something and they're scrolling, oh, hold on, just give me a second. And I'm like, well, this system avoids that. Now, each month you can actually input particular progress pictures from each month, and you can do more, but I made an area where you have spaces to curate these things in a particular manner. I want you to go to my website, transformedbyo, so that you have access to this dashboard, my healthy hair dashboard. It is free. 1.0 is free. I may be coming out with a 2.0. But for now, this is for the girls. This is for the guys too. You can use this as well. This is really an everybody system, but it really is catered to Black women. Any woman can use this, but this is catered to Black women because I have particular styles and products in there that usually I would use in the salon. And the great thing about it is, even if I didn't put it in there, you can. So if you, let's say you use this particular hair care product that your old stylist from the town you used to live in used to use, and you still get it shipped to your house, you can input that product in. That way, every time you use it, it's already in the database. You don't have to type it out each time. It's in the database. You add it in there, and you're documenting what was done, what your hair is looking like, what it did, the pros and cons, XYZ. Then when you go to your stylist and they ask you, what do you typically use for your hair? Boom, you show them the database. And honestly, I feel like me as a stylist, I would love that. I would eat it up. I love when clients are very intentional and they know what they're doing to their hair. They know what's going into their hair. They have a schedule. I have a client, she used to document everything I used to do. And I'm like, I love this. This is great. Because now we can pinpoint what's happening, what's not so great, what we're doing that's great. So go to my website, download the My Healthy Hair dashboard, and I hope to see you here again so that we can even do some walkthroughs. I do have a walkthrough on my YouTube currently, but if you have any questions, please put it down in the in the comments below so we can discuss further. Now back to the silk press. So on this side, because it's really awkward for me to reach over, I don't do the chase method from the roots to the mid shaft. But then once I can get more control, I then add my comb and follow that with the chase method. So one of the things that I also wanted to mention was that I created a guide for using heat without fear. So oftentimes I have clients who they want to use heat occasionally, and by occasionally, I mean maybe 2 to 4 times a year, but they are very afraid of losing their curls. And it's a very understandable fear because even to this day, we have people going to stylists and their curls being burnt up and stringy. Now, I personally have a different philosophy on heat damage. I do think that damage is usually when the hair is breaking and shedding, majorly splitting. But if your curl is just a little bit loosened and your hair is perfectly fine, it's not shedding bad, it's not breaking. And this is not just after the first shampoo, but this is after like months and months of just wearing your hair. I think your hair is fine. I don't think it's damaged. Maybe a little heat stress, and sure, somebody's gonna tell me that is damaged. I think that interpretation is up to the person. Yes, heat can inflict damage on the hair, absolutely. But I just think it's the frequency. I think it's the amount. I would never put 450 on my hair, but if I'm flattering my hair every single 2 weeks for a year straight, my curls are gonna loosen up, and perhaps it's gonna experience some damage. But I do think sometimes a little bit of hair care is managing damage, and that may sound somehow, but our hair is gonna experience things that are in our control and not in our control, and our job is to manage those things so that we can retain, if your goal is length retention, to retain that length. So my goal is length retention. So I'm trying to do styles that help me not get a lot of single strand knots, because I tend to get a lot of single strand knots. And one of those things that I do want to incorporate into my hair care routine is straightening more. So like I mentioned before, I usually do 2 to maybe 4, maybe 2 to 3 straightenings a year, but I may increase that to 3 to 6. It just depends. I'm not really sure. I'm going to play it by ear. One thing I do want to incorporate more is deep conditioning, because as much as I tell my clients to deep condition more frequently, I myself kind of get not overwhelmed, not lazy. I don't like using the word lazy, but I just sometimes don't have time. There was a time when I was doing it and I had one of those caps that I put in the microwave. And it was fantastic because it allowed me to still do things around the house. But then I put the cap in the microwave for a little bit too long. and it burnt up. Yeah, it burnt up. So I think I put it in for like 90 seconds, and you're only supposed to put it in for like a minute. So keep that in mind. But it's a great tool because sometimes I don't want to have to sit under a hood dryer, even though hood dryers are great. If you're able to, it's a great time to catch up on a book, great time to scroll TikTok. So I personally this year want to improve in my deep conditioning frequency. One of my favorite deep conditioners is Olaplex Moisture Mask. I'm going to incorporate that along with the Joico mask. I actually mentioned this in my Use Heat Without Fear routine. This is something you can also download within Notion. This is a paid routine, of course, because sure, I can give you all the products that I use for heat. I do have a lot of those listed in my Amazon store if you would like to check that out. But there's one thing to be guided and know exactly the routine, the reason, the why behind it all. And I think that's the difference between just having a list of do this, don't do that, and products there versus me telling you reasons behind why you do XYZ and whether you should do XYZ. So check out my No Heat Without Fear, Use Heat Without Fear routine on my website. And back to the silk press. So besides straightening my hair a little bit more frequently, I am actually going to try and do roller sets. I have been considering doing roller sets for clients, for myself, and I think it's just a great alternative style that can give you big bouncy hair, because a lot of my clients do want that big bouncy hair look, but without having to use a hot iron every time. Because even if you were a straight natural, as in you're a person who wears your hair regularly straight, and whether you have a keratin treatment or not, I do think incorporating styles that do not involve a flat iron are very important. And by that, I mean not braids. Wig braids are fine. Wigs, extensions, sew-in extensions, I think that's fine on occasion, not like indefinitely. Incorporating styles, even if you are a straight natural, styles that don't involve heat or involve minimal heat. So if you are a straight natural or you want to be a straight natural, getting comfortable with a roller set may be very useful to you because you can still get a very beautiful, more sleek look without using so much heat. And who knows, you might fall in love with roller sets and prefer that over a silk press. I like to do the sections in the front a bit bigger because my hair in the front I do think is a little bit finer than the middle and back, and it's not as high density. So I do think it's a little bit more prone to burning if I do it in very, very itty bitty slices. So if you have hair like mine, I would suggest you do the same, especially the hair on this area of the head. It's usually very fragile and most prone to heat damage. Okay, so here are the results. I think it looks really nice. However, I am a little concerned because I see a little bit of poofing here. Perhaps it's because I didn't use as small sections as I did on this side that I did on this side. So I used a little bit larger. So the sections that I did on this side were a little bit larger than the sections that I did on this side. So that could be a part of it. As I mentioned earlier, I put the iron on 401, one pass. I expect a little bit of swelling, but let's see what happens. Overall, would I use the Matrix Mega Sleek again? Yes. I did add in the Moroccan oil treatment oil because my hair was just so stiff from just using the Matrix products alone. Like when I used the leave-in conditioner and the oil, the 96-hour serum pump, that my hair was not, it didn't feel very pliable, I would say. And perhaps that's the point, because at the end of the day, these are film formers and it's meant to coat the hair so that it can resist humidity. So I don't know if my hair necessarily loves that so much, because I actually noticed this particular effect with some other really, really high anti-frizz products. So I don't know if my hair is in love with that, or perhaps I may be using too much because I'm like, I really want this to work. So I am going to still give this another try, but mix it with my typical silk press routine. I love using a various mix of different products, and so far These have worked for my clients that I do regularly with silk presses. So I just wanted to give this entire line a try. Like I said, I did use some of the Moroccan oil just to smooth it out during the blow dry process because it was struggling. But overall, I would give this line a B. I would use it again. I would use some elements of it again, but I would not use it again together because I think it was overkill for my particular hair. Perhaps it may work better for your hair. But ultimately, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to go to my website, transformedbyo.com, to download my healthy hair digital dashboard and also check out my heat with no fear routine so that you can get started with using heat in your routine with no fear. I really hope that you've enjoyed this video, and I do hope to see you here again the next time. Bye.